I've got a range of musical influences. I've loved music since I was tiny, and I suppose early on, I think it's just still a really solid influence is like Sesame Street and that kind of thing, especially like in the 80s. There was just so much amazing funky music there. And also the sense of fun with Muppets and that kind of thing. I remember being age 5 and seeing like stage brat kids singing stuff on TV and being like, I want to do that. I wrote songs, like really quite schmaltzy, sort of standard songs. I remember I wrote my first song kind of age 7 or 8, and I just wrote tons of songs. I used to write like 2 or 3 songs a day, all very rhymey. Like I remember my mum found a song that I wrote. It was like, it's sunny all day, but in my heart it's raining. And her being really upset that I would say that as a child. um, and then I got into doing that kind of, variety show, lots of kids on stage stuff. I did that with the guides and scouts. It's called a gang show. So that's all very sort of musical theatre, variety show stuff. And then as a teen, I got into really like, I can't ever really remember enjoying pop music much, by the way. I remember I loved Boy George, fascinated by Boy George. Um, but like nothing else really stood out. And then as a teenager, I got into this sort of post-punk industrial cyber goth band, with lots of synth and distorted electric guitar. We thought Nine Inch Nails were like really overly popular and totally sold out. So I do that kind of thing. I don't think we ever had a gig though. And then also I was part of a sort of youth theatre group. I did musical direction. Hey, shall I just explain what's... So because I was involved in theatre stuff, I really liked doing sound effects and more theatrical stuff. I had a sense of like what makes sense on stage and that kind of theatre stage skills stuff. And then so I had this kind of dichotomy of like that kind of musical theatre side of things and quite serious theatre, sound effects, the sort of music you'd have in the background, and then also this kind of gothy, cyber, synthy kind of new stuff. And then when I left school, I really got into my piano music, so like minimalism, very repetitive, sort of Philip Glass kind of stuff. And then when I went to university, I got really into folk music, so traditional song, stuff that's like songs from like 300 years ago, and finding really exciting, I suppose, even like medieval music as well. So I got into that too. And I think what I do now has aspects of all that kind of stuff. Like medieval music has a really raw edge. A lot of it is kind of like, there's a lot of sort of acoustic distortion in sort of European medieval music that I think that we've lost in terms of classical music now. And I've always tended towards something that has that kind of, that like buzzy edge to it, whether it's like in traditional music or sound effects or or that kind of Muppetsy, Sesame Streety stuff, something that's got that kind of immediacy to it.